Here it goes, guys. We're finally doing it. You guys have been sending me this channel for a while, begging me to cover this lady, and I've seen some of her videos and I recommended. I've seen some clips from her on Twitter. Nothing too substantial, though, and one thing I will say just right off the bat, and I expect all of you will be quite upset about me saying this, but she can absolutely step on my throat. Sorry, guys. It's just simple as that. She could absolutely just crush my spine if she wanted to. I'd let her. With that out of the way, with the, the thirsting and the simping out of the way, we can continue on with the important work we have ahead of us, and that is tearing apart this woman's arguments. For any of you who are triggered by that, by the way, I assure you that is, she's a conservative woman online. I assure you that is not even close to being the most inappropriate thing a man has said to her today. All right? So don't you worry about that. With that said, though, today we're going to be checking out a channel called The Comment Section with Brett Cooper. This is a newer channel who's kind of popped up in the last few, in the last year or so. Maybe even less than a year. How far back do her uploads go? 3 months ago, it looks like. Yeah, only 3 months. Yeah, this channel has rocketed to 617,000 subscribers in only 3 months. Very much like Abby Shapiro and other Daily Wire affiliated outlets, this one was also heavily astroturfed. You could not escape the ads for this channel. At first, most of these videos did not get a lot of positive support, but they very quickly blew up on their own, and it just happens that way. When you've got lots of money to fund you, which the right does, then you can just kind of have these random nobodies popping up out of nowhere, getting astroturfed through YouTube ads that are bought and paid for, and sort of grow an organic audience once you've already had the hard part done for you. It's kind of like pay to winning your way through the tutorial or the hard part of an MMO or of like a game. It's like a level boost in WoW. You know how they introduced level boosts in WoW so you can level boost to like the level 50 now in World of Warcraft and just grind from 50 to 60 and then raid? That's basically what she did, and what a lot of these conservative commentators will do. They'll do the level boost from like 1 to 50, so all the hard work is done for them, and then they get to just sort of glide off of that, and as long as they upload every once in a while, the YouTube algorithm takes care of the rest. Yeah, credit card warriors, hell yeah. Anyway, this channel's really blown the fuck up, and she's gotten pretty popular. She's sort of Femme Ben Shapiro, a lot of people have called her, but I don't really think that's a fair comparison. Obviously, Ben Shapiro's sister is Femme Ben Shapiro. I think this is more comparable to a female Michael Knowles. She's got an interesting history. We'll be checking out one of her videos in just a moment, but the thing is, I'd never really heard about her, and she hasn't been online for very long, so she doesn't have much of a history. She just came out of nowhere. She was astroturfed onto the platform, so there's not much to find about her, though I did manage to find what I believe to be a Wikipedia draft for her. It's a little bit interesting. There's not much here, but I think we can kind of piece things together based off of context clues and the bits that we have here on what might have happened with this whole situation, how this person came about, what their backstory is, and what her motivations are. Brett Cooper is an American actress and libertarian conservative political commentator with the Daily Wire. So that's Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, all of them. Cooper was raised in Tennessee and took up residence in Los Angeles at the age of 10 to begin professional acting. She starred in theater and later moved on to star in film and television. According to Cooper, she graduated from high school at the age of 16. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature from the University of California, Los Angeles, and a Bachelor of Business Administration from the Haas School of Business. Cooper was admitted to the University of Idaho, where she intended to pursue dual Juris Doctor and MBA degrees. In August 2021, she stated she decided against obtaining her JD due to the financial cost of law school. After leaving Hollywood, she began to create content for Prageru, Turning Point USA, and the Young Americans for Liberty, as well as write articles for the Foundation of Economic Education. In 2022, she joined the Daily Wire, where she hosts a series titled The Comment Section. Cooper is anti-abortion, supportive of gun rights, and opposed to the Me Too movement. And that's really all they have for her there. Her IMDb page, I doubt there'll be much interesting there. What it seems like to me is she dropped out of college because she couldn't really afford it, and then found that grifting as a conservative commentator for Prageru, Turning Point USA, and now having a cushy job at the Daily Wire that has grown her own individual public standing quite large, he has done quite the good job. Now, listen, no doubt that she's no doubt going to respond to me in the future. I just get the vibe from the type of content she makes that she might respond to me, like actually engage. If Michael Knowles does it, or not Michael Knowles, if Matt Walsh does it, I feel like she might. She feels like a little younger and more like hip and tuned in to this side of the internet. So maybe she'll respond to me. Who knows? So before we really get into anything, I want to get out in front of this and say I know she is going to shit talk me for saying this, but it is true, and she cannot scare me from speaking my truth. I've told you guys this story a few times, but I'm going to tell it again. When I was a young lad of, I would say 16 years old, maybe. Might have been 17. It's hard to ballpark around that age. I stumbled across my very first Prageru video in the form of an ad that popped up on a video that I was watching. I don't remember what it was. Probably some Minecraft shit. This Prageru ad popped up, and it was for a video by Prageru called The War on Boys. And this video was a supposedly feminist woman explaining how men, particularly young men in their young teens to late teens and early adulthood, are actually becoming more and more oppressed by society and have become the most oppressed minority in society, if anything, as well as quite misunderstood. This video is literally meant to be just a circle jerk for every white teenage gamer boy fail son who was watching that video and felt like the world owed them more. And that's how I felt at the time. And that is what this woman is meant to do. She's a hot lady who is going to tell, no doubt, tons of straight, white, cis, heterosexual men, that a little redundant there, but still, that in fact they are the ones who are oppressed, that our society, that our large institutions, our media outlets, whatever it may be, have now completely flipped the script. It is no longer the minorities who are the most marginalized, but those that are the literal highest power holders in our society, I guess, that are the most marginalized now. And no doubt a lot of her appeal comes from her being a hot lady who's telling guys that they're oppressed. I'm sorry. If you think that's sexist, then you can cry about it. It's just true. And it's just true. That is the reality of where the appeal of this content is coming from to some degree of her audience. Probably a large degree of it. With that said, though, let's go ahead and check out what she's uploaded. What she got here? Got a lot of shorts here. Tyler Fisher, I don't know who that is. This video is my worst nightmare. Chris Evans, the left wing's favorite white knight. Prank fail or publicity stunt. Identity politics is crumbling. She really has the YouTube title algorithm down quite well as too. Just like the really vague short titles. That's where it's at with YouTube titles these days. Can Amber Heard actually make a comeback? Lizzo escapes getting canceled. Oh, and we've got the two SJW images from like 2015. Jake Paul roasts Biden in tweet that's based as fuck. Do you guys remember when everybody hated Jake Paul? Do you guys remember? Like, isn't it funny that like one of the most hated figures on the internet, one of the most like insincere, grifting, like obnoxious piece of shit people on the internet can just announce that he's right wing, and then all of a sudden half the internet will be like, oh no, he's cool, he's based, hashtag one of us, well, we like him now, he's cool. Isn't that funny how that can happen? The right doesn't have very high standards for the people they'll laud as their champions. God, she uploads so much. We're so far down the list, and these are just uploads from like 11 days ago. Chris Pratt uncancelable. All right, this video is
welcome back to the.
Oh God. This video is her worst nightmare. Let's see it.
Comment section. I'm Brett Cooper. You know, obviously, we all know that it's Pride Month. You really can't ignore it.
I'm sorry. I just love the fact that it is a Daily Wire. You know, it's just another room in the Daily Wire studio because it's the exact same like camera setup and mic setup as Michael Knowles, Andrew Clavin, Ben Shapiro, and Matt Walsh. With the camera, the cameras that occasionally alternate to the side view, the front view, and the same exact micro. That's the kind of microphone I'm hoping to get, by the way, though. See how it kind of, you just talk right into the front of it like a big black dick? I'm hoping to kind of just sit it on my desk on a stand and just like talk into it from here and have it really out of my way. It just picks up audio exactly how I need it to. It's perfect.
If you don't know that it's Pride Month, what rock are you living under? Because they make it very known. Literally every aspect of our culture is infiltrated by pride at this point in time.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh god, I'm already detecting what type of content this woman makes. I've never watched a second of this lady's content, and I'm already detecting it. I'm already like, the litmus tests are already, the papers are turning colors. She is going to be the most bottom barrel, like, surface level analysis you can possibly imagine. This is going to be bimbo tier politics, isn't it? That's what we're going to get. Because just from the, if you didn't know it's Pride Month, then you must be living under a rock bit, that alone is either just she's being performative. She's not actually dumb. You've seen her degrees. We know her education. She's extremely smart. But she is going to be playing, no doubt, sort of a normie bimbo character for her aesthetic in her videos as a way of ingratiating herself with an audience that is presupposing women are inherently dumber than men. You have to remember this, guys. Daily Wire viewers are the same type of viewers that watch James Hake and like Jesse Lee Peterson, who genuinely believe that women are like biologically incapable of being capable of talking about politics, that they're too mentally emotional and I quote, academic to talk about politics. Remember, that's the audience that she's talking to here. Hake has no first name. That is his name. Yes.
I mean, the amount of weirdness and virtue signaling that we see is off the charts. And we already talked about the military advertisements. We talked about the gay, bottom-friendly menu from Postmates. But now, it is time to...
Oh god, they all cover the same shit, don't they? Do you guys remember back in the anti-SJW, like, 2016 Gamergate era, when all of these YouTube channels would cover the same fucking BuzzFeed videos? You get like the Shuon Head upload, the Chris Ray Gun upload, the Andy Worski upload, the Sargon upload, the Thunderfoot upload, all on the same exact video from BuzzFeed when it would come out. All I'm saying is I was literally right about everything, and you guys need to praise me.
Merge pride with environmentalism. But before we get into it, you guys know the drill. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to this channel if you...
Yeah, like, what is wrong with gay people eating fibers so it doesn't look like someone got their oil checked when they do anal? Like, come on.
Or not already, and ring that notification bell. We are almost at 600,000 subscribers, working towards 1 million this year. The rate that we're growing is just absolutely insane. Could not be more grateful, so let's keep it going. Super stoked. But anyway.
It's got to be easy to grow on YouTube when you've got oil billionaires paying to run ads on YouTube, and you've got an entire organization like the Daily Wire to, you know, push your stuff in the algorithm.
Have you guys...
Wait, hold on. I'm actually curious, guys. Can you imagine, like, some far-left content creator getting picked up out of nowhere by, like, the closest to this I can imagine would honestly have to be Hassan Piker. But Hassan Piker streamed on Twitch for years to, like, no viewers comparatively for so long. This lady exploded in 3 months because of astroturfing. Like, the closest you can get to this is Hassan Piker, and say what you want about Hassan, but Hassan streamed every day for like 8 to 12 hours every single day with no days off for like a year last year or something, or I think it was the year before last year. Like, the guy worked his ass off to get to where he is, especially if our, like, comparison is going to be somebody like Abby Shapiro or any of these people working, any of these stooges working at the Daily Wire.
Heard about the Audubon Society. It is a environmental nonprofit that is all about birds, and they have a big Twitter presence that is usually very cringe, but they protect birds, preserve their habitats, all that jazz, which is fantastic. Like, I love that for birds, but as you know, birds and I don't really have the greatest relationship. I'm semi-terrified of them, especially larger birds that have more of a running capacity. And to give some context, I feel like
dinosaurs.
this is, you know, a childhood trauma response, because we had a flock of ducks.
Oh God. Oh no.
Rooted traumatic memory. Swan, like, it's bird.
I hate birds. They're so useless.
Therefore,
Don't you fucking dare disgrace Ed, and Eddie with your goddamn references, with your goddamn meme edits. You will not. Oh, good fucking God. Oh, Jesus. You know, I'll give her this, all right? I'll give her this. Most of the conservative grifter content creators that I watch don't make an effort to actually form some level of a bond with their audience. It's actually kind of smart to do this. Usually these content creators, they're really only as useful as their ability to comment on current events is. That's it. Like, once somebody else comes along that does it better than they do, then all of their audience will just move over to the next person, unless they're able to build a stronger emotional bond with their audience, a parasocial relationship, if you will, and keep that audience. And at least she's doing that.
for this video that I'm about to show you is literally my worst nightmare. I might actually die, which is why I am so grateful that I have Epic Will. If I die, well,
All of that was a lead up to an ad. That was all a lead up to an ad.
you. The drag queen climate change
Okay, we're now almost 3 minutes into the 10-minute video, and now it's starting. Let's go.
bird dance.
Bird up.
Okay, maybe it wasn't a lead up to an ad.
Birds tell us. Birds
Okay.
tell us that the world is changing. No. That the climate is changing. They sing it over us and around us. In their songs and in the songs they no longer sing. Do you know why birds sing just before dawn? People believe it's to tell each other that they made it through the night. As a way of saying, I'm still here. Maybe that's why we sing too.
Is there going to be an argument to this? Like, is she going to actually be able to make an argument? Because you know what this is going to be, right? You know what the argument is here. She's going to cringe and maybe say, why is this necessary? That is the closest to an argument you're going to get from this. What this is supposed to do is make you feel disgusted. The idea that somebody would choose to live their life this way or present themselves this way is supposed to disgust you. You're supposed to want to hurt this person, take this person's rights away. That is what she wants, and what, frankly, most of the people watching her content want. And that is the audience that she is shilling to. She does not need to make an argument for why somehow this is harmful, when the audience who is watching already just needs to see this, and seeing it alone is enough of an argument. I think there's actually been studies that have shown that conservatives have more of a disgust response than more progressive people. The more progressive and like more well sort of traveled you are, the more like diverse your experiences have been, the less your disgust response becomes triggered by things that are in your brain, by things that are like unusual to you. You grow a tolerance to unusual things that are not typical to what you experience. This can be other cultures, like areas outside of where you live. And conservatives typically do, either to their upbringing or out of personal choice due to their ideology, tend to isolate themselves, right? A lot of them are very nationalistic. They don't like immigration. They don't want anyone else from anywhere else coming to their country. They don't want them bringing their culture. They don't want them bringing their food. They don't want them bringing their language. They don't want them bringing them their ideas, their stories, nothing. They don't want anything different. Because they see that as sort of like an invasion, an attack. It disgusts them. It genuinely does, because it's different. And it sets off the same parts of their brain. When like a conservative sees when like a really racist conservative sees a restaurant run by immigrants on, like, when they're driving down the road, it sets off the same things in their brain as when they see an animal carcass on the side of the road. Genuinely, on a biochemical level in their brains, they are wired that way through, I'm not saying they're born that way, through conditioning. They've conditioned themselves to think this way. So just seeing something like this, they don't need an argument. There is no argument. There's no thought process going through their head as to how this is harmful or degrading society or a negative thing. They will see this, say it is horrible, disgusting, and an argument against this in and of itself, just it existing as an argument against itself, and they'll simultaneously go on to say, I don't care what anyone does as long as they keep it away from me. I'm very libertarian, and I'm not authoritarian at all. In fact, the left is. They can hold both of these positions at the same time because, well, they don't think about it. This content, I want you to be very clear. Keep an eye out for if this content ever asks you to think about something. I very often like to ask you guys to think about something. Like, think about this, think about that. What if this? What if that? Think about this hypothetical. Think about... This content does not ask you to think about things. This content tells you what to believe. That is what this conservative shit does.
As a way of saying, I made it. I'm still here. Will we choose to listen? Birds tell us there is something worth singing.
To be clear, by the way, I'm not like super into drag shows or drag culture. It's just not my thing. I'm not like super into it. I do find it a little bit cringy, but not in like a negative way. It's just not my cup of tea. But not being into something, not being into a hobby or into a cultural thing personally as a personal interest is very different. Yeah, it's very extra, right? Like it's a little too... I get that it's self-aware. Drag is very self-aware about how extra it is, but like self-awareness for me isn't always enough if something is cringy enough, you know? Like I know it's self-aware cringiness and that's the point, you know? But at the same time, it's just not my cup of tea, you know? It just isn't. But just because I'm not personally into something is not an argument against it. There's nothing wrong with this. There's no moral argument anyone could make against this. It is an organization that is making an effort to promote... I'm going to assume they're making an effort to promote awareness about bird species that are endangered, at risk of being endangered or going extinct, as well as other environmental causes. And they did a video in which somebody dresses up as a bird / in drag and does a bit of a poem reading, just some soft background music and bizarre visuals about birds. There's nothing wrong here. The right invented cancel culture. It's ironic, isn't it? Yeah, they really did invent the very thing that they chose to complain about, right? Like, the conservatives online were the very first to cancel people. They were the very first people to do the big call-out videos on BuzzFeed and whatnot and say, this is cringe, this is wrong, go, and, you know, send their audiences to mass, you know, dislike it, and basically make every BuzzFeed comment section into a war zone for years onward. And they started that general cultural tendency. I mean, honestly, that's it. When I think about the first time people got together to engage in what I would consider to be cancel culture, that's what I think of. The audiences of Gamergate YouTubers going after random trans creators that those YouTubers responded to, usually trans and lefty creators, BuzzFeed, stuff like that. Riley J. Dennis, Milo Stewart. There really weren't a lot of left-wing creators back then. Yeah, like that's just what they do.
This boy's making more noise than a couple of skeletons throwing a fit on a tin roof.
Reminding us.
Was that a faceplant attempt at a Zoomer meme edit? For those of you guys that don't know, editing in clips from old, like, you know, cartoons, like Tom and Jerry and whatnot, has become like a Zoomer meme thing to do in some Zoomer, late Zoomer memes. And they just tried to do it there and completely fell flat on it. That was pathetic. Was that even like a quote that's been memed or anything? It's not. It wasn't even like. What was that? Why would Zoomer? Yeah, Zoomers don't give a shit about Foghorn Leghorn. Exactly. Like, what? Who recognizes that character that's like below the age of 20, maybe even 21 or 22, and that's not even a quote from the character that's even known about. I do, because I'm old as balls. Me too. I'm 23 years old. I'm basically dead.
Something so profound can be a quiet sound.
I just really want to know what somebody like John Muir would say about this. John Muir is the one who basically discovered Yosemite, a very, very famous American environmentalist.
Who gives a shit? Who the fuck cares? I assume he's dead? Yosemite's existed for a pretty long fucking time, so I'm gonna guess he's dead? Who cares? Is this supposed to be some argument from hypocrisy, as Bolshevik Y2K just said? Over in website chat? Is that what this is trying to be? Like, oh, Well, you, did you know that, the founder of this park would have thought that this was, bad, I bet? You know, for one, no sources on that, probably. Who knows? Maybe he was, like, a raging homophobe. Even if he was, it wouldn't matter. But, like, to them, a real argument is, this person who, started a thing that you're a part of probably hundreds of years ago would disagree with you now, so hypocritical much? You got me. In truth, though, this isn't an argument. It's not. And I'm not saying this in, like, a derogatory sense. Like, I'm not insulting her when I say this. I'm saying she doesn't mean for it to be an argument. This is a more of a rhetorical question she's asking her audience. She's not making a challenge to potential left-wing viewers of her content. She doesn't probably intend to have anyone who's on the left watch her content and disagree with it and, like, respond to it. What it's for is for conservatives to watch it and be like, oh yeah, a guy who lived long ago, that's, I guess we all have to respect because they lived a long time ago and the history books tell us so. If they were around today, they'd disagree with this thing, which means this thing must be bad. That is genuinely how these people think. That is a sound structural argument for them. It's not an argument for us. It's an argument for them.
Absolutely incredible. But we're seeing a drag queen spin in a field with the birds chirping. You know what it made me feel like I was watching like a thesis student film. Like overly dramatic and emotional, not really a lot going on, but shot, you know, semi-well. But
Okay.
will we choose to listen?
Oh boy, it's just gonna be making fun of it. That's all this is gonna be. There's not gonna be any arguments.
To what the birds must say? Insert, like, spinning shot.
Brett is a dude's name, and Jesse's a girl's name, alright? The right is defying gender name something woke, alright? Put the joke together in your own mind. I'm too lazy to do it myself.
Like moving. Tell me I'm wrong. Like a student film. A very, very dramatic, angsty,
This joke requires assembly.
like, I understand the world. Oh, there's so much that pangs in my heart. That's 100% what it was. Now, if you watch my videos regularly and you recognize that drag queen, I really don't know if it's possible to recognize a drag queen. That is because he is the one who also did the very weird Pride North Face.
What is that supposed to mean? There are famous drag queens that are... I'm pretty sure the most famous drag queen right now is probably Alaska Thunderfuck. And yes, I remember her name because their name? I don't know pronouns, but we'll go with they, them. Just because, holy fuck, what a name, right? Like, come on. All right, like that's a great name. That's the only drag queen that I know. But I think it's definitely possible to recognize a drag queen. I don't know what that was supposed to be. Is it like is it because like drag queens aren't people? Is that the point of that comment? I don't know.
Face ad where he was like in a tent gallivanting through the woods.
Oh, I saw Lauren Chen complaining about this the other day. God, they really do all complain about the same exact shit. God, what a money-making machine they've got going.
I feel like any drag queen that you see in the woods is going to be this guy because it's apparently a very niche market. His name is Patagonia, like 2 words like Patagonia, but Patagonia. And he has this whole
Cool.
Instagram where he, you know, flits around in the woods. And now basically his entire life is
Okay.
just doing brand deals because everybody wants the niche environmental drag queen because there's only one of them. And so all of the outdoorsy brands are like, oh my God, we need to be at cutting edge. We need to be Pride. So everybody's
Okay.
using Patagonia. He's probably doing financially very well. Props to you. You have found a very lucrative career for yourself.
Wait, is this all it is? Is it just like rudely stating a thing that's going to happen in a way that kind of suggests it's negative, so as that it leads the audience to assume what she is saying is bad, so that she doesn't have to make any actual arguments. I'll admit, it is impossible for me to respond to a video that makes zero arguments. She's got me there. She's got me by the balls in that sense. On an intellectual level, I cannot argue against a video that makes no arguments. She beat me.
Yourself, because apparently just caring about the outdoors is not enough. We also must be gay. We must be gay and environmentally conscious. That is the future.
Yes, you do. You do have to be gay. We're going to make you gay. The gay serum, we're developing it. It's the #1 priority in Biden's administration, is developing the gay serum. And you will be injected with it against your will. I won't, because I voted for Biden 14 times. You, on the other hand, you're going to get a double dose. You're going to be a super lesbian. That's what's coming.
Sure, progressivism. Anyway, this whole video just got destroyed online. There were a lot of people that were, you know, defending it and saying like, oh my God, this is bringing such like fantastic awareness about birds, all of that. There are a lot of people that actually had common sense. But like this person who...
Guarantee in 6 months, super lesbian is going to be a thing that TERFs start using to it's going to be like super straight. I'm calling it now. Clip it now and share the clip around when I get proven right in 6 months or something like that.
Whose handle is trans rights are human rights.
Cool. Base.
Peace sign, all of that, said, if you came to the comments to criticize, ask yourself why nature includes so many different kinds of birds, but humanity excludes so many different kinds of people.
You're bashing it because I don't like gay people. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Somebody writes back. So you're...
Okay, you have to try really hard to make the Alex Jones frogs gay quote not funny. You have to actively try to edit that clip into a context that makes it unfunny. You didn't even get a out of my nose. You have to try to edit that clip in a way that makes it unfunny. Not only was it completely irrelevant and like unrelated and didn't even work there, but on top of that, it suggests that you agree with Alex Jones, who is an insane conspiracy theorist who is currently being sued for tens of millions of dollars, losing those lawsuits for defamation because he told his audience that the Sandy Hook shooting in which kids were murdered was a false flag to take away people's guns, and then all of those families and children who survived the shooting got inundated with harassment from Alex Jones fans. He continued to push the conspiracy until he no longer could openly, but then still dog whistled it for a while. Lost his cases because obviously none of his little sly hint hint nudge nudge dog whistles would have made it past the court. It doesn't even make her look good. Who's editing these videos? Who's watching them?
Claim is that trans people are in fact a different species.
Never mind, I know who's watching them and I know why.
Oh, that was good. This person says, people have been costuming and dancing to celebrate birds for almost as long as there have been people. Homophobia is the only reason to single out Patagonia's performance for ridicule. And then this person...
Yes. Yes. This is a very good argument. Yeah, no, there have been tons of cultures who've done stuff like this that's very similar to what we saw there. The thing you have a problem with is the fact that is homophobia and transphobia, or we're just gonna broadly say queerphobia, like anything that steps out of the heteronormative line that we've set for society when it comes to gender and sexuality. It scares you, and so you ridicule it, and that is the only reason why that clip is particularly cringy to you. Like if you saw some like some indigenous dance of the bird or some shit, you wouldn't cringe at it, not in the way that she did at that video. She wouldn't. I don't even think she would. I don't even think she's that, like, you know, bigoted that she would. I think it is definitely, and I think for a lot of people it is definitely, that video invokes such a cringe response because we do view anybody who breaks the molds of the line of, or breaks the mold of the expectations we have for people when it comes to their gender and sexuality, we are averse to it because we've been conditioned to be. And it causes us to cringe because we feel as though if we did that, then we'd be ridiculed as well. And so we almost cringe for them. That is what cringe is, after all. Highly recommend watching ContraPoint's video on cringe. It's very good. It's a good breakdown of the phenomenon.
And puts a bunch of screenshots of dancing birds. This one in the corner is horrific. They are literally like, this is extreme weird furry.
I think those are actual birds. No, I think those are bird suits. Are they? Huh, I think they are. I thought those were real birds for a second.
Weird furry. You've watched way too much Planet Earth, way too much National Geographic, and you're wanting to walk around as a bird.
I'm sorry. Birds are literally fucking dinosaurs, alright? Okay, honestly, we can make fun of furries. Furries are fine to make fun of. But you're making fun of furries because they tend to be gay, not because they're furries.
Like, that is the kind of stuff that haunts me. That is the stuff that makes me need epic will, because, like, if that chased me, I would probably have a heart attack and die. Just because people have been weirdly dancing around as birds does not mean that we need to normalize that with drag queens. Does not mean that I want to open up my phone and see drag queen bird.
You want to rewind the tape really fast to when I said the only argument that she'd really make is, why do we need this? Anybody want to rewind the tape to when I said that? That the only argument she'd be able to muster up is, why is this necessary? Why do we need this? Why do we need to normalize this? Listen, guys, I'm not like some master predictor or anything, but content like this from these conservatives is very predictable. Their behavior is very predictable. Their grift is very predictable. Their mindset is very predictable. And they've been using the same very just like minorly changed dialogue trees for decades. All you have to do is stay caught up on their dialogue tree, and you're pretty much ahead of them at every single turn. You know what they're about to say before they say it. You know what they're going to try to do, and if you know what they're going to try to do, then you're ahead of them. They're NPCs. Listen, most things that conservatives accuse the left of tend to be projection. I think a really good example of this is that one dad. There was this dad that went viral on conservative Twitter and Facebook. He was like this everyone loved him because he went to like this PTA meeting to scream at all the teachers and school staff and parents and stuff like that about a book that featured a gay main character that was in the middle school's library, and about how it was brainwashing and grooming children into the LGBT agenda. And then like 6 months later, he was arrested for possession of child porn and sexually assaulting a 3-year-old girl. And he'd also been found, I think, to have been molesting his own daughter. That I might be wrong about, but yeah. So I find that the projection stuff is pretty strong with conservatives. So when they claim that, basically when they claim anything about the left, I typically, I wonder whether or not they're self-reporting unintentionally.
Ads. Like, at this point, I'll just go live in the freaking woods. Like, take me off the grid. This person says, Victoria's Secret did it better. Less drama, less makeup.
Because it was a woman dressing in a typically feminine way, which doesn't make homophobes feel uncomfortable. Wait, this is like saying, I'm not homophobic. I don't have an issue with gay people. Look, see, I don't have a problem with them. And then pointing to a straight couple kissing.
They're not wrong. They are not wrong. This person says, you paid for the entire campaign, so I guess you have to follow it through. It's just so ridiculous. You should have talked to some lesbians. Judging from my bird watching club, they are out there doing environmental work all year long. Only the men can be celebrated in Pride Month. You know, it is true, though. When you look at the Pride advertisements, all the stuff that is shown, these days it feels like it's just drag queens, but really it's always been about the gay guys. What about all the other members of the Alphabet Mafia? I mean, I guess...
The Alphabet Mafia, Jesus Christ. The victim complex of these people is extraordinary. The right in America right now, the GOP, is passing in red states a unilateral effort to extinguish the ability for trans people to have access to the medical care they need to exist. And yet they claim simultaneously that not only are LGBT people, queer people in general, not oppressed, not only that, but they are in fact the dominant power in our culture and in our systems at the moment, and that they are the victims, that the conservatives are the victims, the ones who are victimizing queer people in these red states. They are the true victims, and you should subscribe to them, donate to them, and fund their next vacation home.
Lesbians are too busy, dancing to Indigo Girls and being at their bird watching clubs to be part of all the Pride stuff.
Just listening to the space stuff.
I'm pretty sure Dinah Shore Weekend is either happened, is happening, or happens soon back in Palm Springs. I'm pretty sure it happens every Pride Month, and this is what Lonnie said to me, quote unquote, the largest gathering of lesbians in the world. So no, they're not too busy bird watching to celebrate Pride Month. I don't know what the fuck that was. It's just gonna be memes and like rhetorical flourish. There's no real arguments to tackle here. I don't know what you guys expect from me. I'm trying.
Quack! Quack! What a majestic creature.
The gay guys are really what
are these efforts at edits? Oh my god.
drives it home. But honestly, I do give a bit more grace to these ultra woke nonprofits like the Audubon Society when they pull stunts like this, because you almost expect it at this point. And it's less jarring because, you know, you're a nonprofit, you're already very progressive with all your environmental stuff. I get it. It's when the big corporations, I mean, it's when North Face did that whole, you know, shtick. When Burger King is now having, you know...
Wait, is she just going to list companies that have done a gay? All right, list on, I guess.
Whoppers with 2 bottoms or 2 tops, you know, to pick, you know, whichever one you are, whichever gay you are. It's like, are you kidding?
Wait, I'm sorry. I still don't buy the idea that 2 bottoms, 2 tops burgers thing was a reference to tops and bottoms, because it makes more sense for it to be a reference to, like, the buns being gay, doesn't it? Doesn't it make more sense that, like, if you get 2 bottom buns and 2 top buns, then it's a gay sandwich, but if you get a bottom bun and a top bun, then it's a straight sandwich? I'm pretty sure I'm almost certain that's what they were going for there. Listen, the Uber Eats or Postmates ad, that was a bottom top reference for sure. But I'm pretty sure that was just a gay sandwich joke, okay? I think it was just a joke about the sandwiches being gay.
Kidding me? Like, just sell food. Just sell jackets, whatever it is.
By the way, just sell jackets. They don't complain. This is not an argument. They would never make this argument were she and I, like, in a call right now, for example. She wouldn't make this argument because I could very easily respond with, what the fuck are you talking about? In no world would you ever say this to any company about any advertisement. Just do the thing that you do. Advertising is done to get your name recognition out there so people buy the thing that you produce or are aware about the thing that you do, depending on what you do. Just sell jackets. You have to do commercials to sell jackets, and it is currently very financially profitable to appeal to a more progressive market. Whether or not you see it as being, I don't know, genuine or not, is up to you. Frankly, I don't care if it's genuine or not. It doesn't matter to me. But stop being purposefully dense. You know why they're doing it. They're doing it for money. It's not some political agenda thing.
Leave these kinds of stunts to the nonprofits. They can run themselves into the ground if they want to. But I actually would like to be able to buy, you know, a North Face jacket with a clear conscience. That's my whole rant, I guess. It is interesting.
I'd like to be able to buy a North Face jacket with a clear conscience. Can you imagine being this much of, like, a prude about, like, the thing? Listen, I would honestly, if I could afford it, probably buy a Tesla if I was going to get an electric car, and I hate Elon Musk. Like, just because, if Tesla's got better, let's be real, like, I'm not too big of a fan of where they are now, but regardless, like, my point being, like, personally, I don't, and I find lefties don't tend to make this huge deal about, like, right-wingers having any part in a brand, like the Goya Beans guy. Wait, yeah, when on earth would this lady ever say this to the Goya Beans people or the My Pillow guy? Just sell pillows, just sell beans. Stop talking about how great Trump is and how great the Republican Party is and the election was stolen. She would never say that because they're deliberately pushing a political ideology that she agrees with. And that's fine. You're allowed to be biased, but don't pretend like you're unbiased and everybody else isn't.
Interesting. I feel like you can't escape the drag stuff this year. I mean, honestly, when did it start? Because now we're seeing drag queens everywhere. In schools, at political events. They are the front of Pride. I feel like every Pride advertisement involves some...
I've known drag queens existed since I was 10. Maybe younger. I knew about drag queens before I knew about trans people, because my mom took me to Miami. End of story. My mom took me to Miami.
Some kind of drag queen, and before it was just kind of entertainment adjacent to the LGBTQ plus community, but now it is almost like the drag queens are the LGBTQ community. Why is this the
drag queens are taking over the LGBT community? Is this like a new conspiracy theory just for this video? Is that what we're doing here? For the most part, I don't even think the LGBT community really counts drag queens as part of it. It's just that a lot of drag queens tend to either be eggs or trans, from what I've heard, and so they just happen to already be part, or gay, and so they already happen to be part of the LGBT community. There's just a lot of crossover. It's like part of queer culture generally. But like, it's not like an identity that's taking over. And even if it was, you don't give a shit or like the LGBT community. You work for the Daily Wire. You think the gay agenda is corrupting the moral fabric of our society.
the hill that we're all going to die on? It's a genuine question. The left is defending all the drag stuff to the death, to the end, with them being in schools, being able to take kids to bars, and the right is latching on for good reason. And like, this is our...
Oh no, she's doing the fake centrist thing. Is that what she's doing? Okay. She's doing the fake centrist thing where she says the right are doing this, the left are doing this. Okay. So she's pretending, even though she's got like the Daily Wire branding and everything, she's pretending to be kind of like a centrist medium, sort of centrist fence-sitting kind of position. Like, she's pretending to be sort of like an apolitical bystander. I talked about that earlier in the video, that she was going to try to play this sort of normie bimbo, like ingratiate herself with her audience type thing. I completely perfectly predicted this video. I have literally not seen more than 10 seconds of this lady's content before today. I literally had just read her Wikipedia before, like when I found it, the little bit of it that was there, like the draft that was there, and I'd seen a couple clips on Twitter that were like 5 seconds long. What can I say? These people are predictable.
This is the pinnacle. This is the issue that we are literally fighting day in and day out. I don't know how it happened. We are literally living in the upside down. If anybody has any thoughts about when this thing took off, let me know.
Before you were born, probably. Probably before you were born. Yeah, how old is this lady? Like 26, 28? Can't be any older than 28, I'd say. Yeah, drag's been around since before you were born. There were drag shows happening at speakeasies in like the 1920s. No doubt. Way before you were born. 900 years ago when the Magna Carta was signed.
But for now, I'm going to go drink some coffee and calm down because my heart is still racing after seeing a bird dance on my screen.
Okay, good. Amazing. Good God. Well, there was no arguments there, but whatever that was and whatever bit of a debunk of whatever she said there was that you got out of that, hopefully you enjoyed it. It's always content like this that's always the scariest to me when it blows up, because it really makes no arguments. It sort of deliberately leads people down a certain political path and tells people what they ought to think and what they ought to believe without doing it overtly enough that there's arguments that you can firmly call out. It's more so just preaching to the choir, but it's a choir that is in themselves slowly sort of sinking into this type of content, into this political ideology. Never take her to watch Swan Lake. I do not know what that means. I wasn't aware that caffeine will stop your heart from racing. Yeah, I feel like it does the opposite of stopping your heart from racing, right? She's also trying to LARP as a centrist too, of course, yeah. Anyway, well, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. It helps the channel out more than you even realize. It's not just a hollow show of support that YouTube just says, well, here you go, people like your video. It actually makes YouTube push my content in the algorithm, and it makes new people see my videos that otherwise would not have. So if you don't have money and you want to support me and you can't donate, then the next best thing is dropping a like. It does mean a lot to me. You can also comment on my stuff too. It helps more than you realize. Comment down below your favorite food. Yeah, why not? What else? Yeah, you can also follow my social media, link down below if you want to follow that. And if you want to support me financially directly, you can do so on my website, xanderhal.com/live, or you can support me on YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, and Patreon. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and have a good one.